Hello, everyone. Blue Star Saber here once again to do another One Piece chapter review, chapter 1138, The Harley. I'm sort of doing this chapter because I did do a review before, but I'm privatizing that one because there were a few errors I made that I didn't want to do. Granted, really didn't want to do that because I was like ill and coughing, I think, a bit more. Granted, I think I'm a bit better than yesterday, but still, let's see, it could be a risk of that happening again. But yeah. Nevertheless, here I go. Anyway, this chapter is basically a follow up of the 1137th chapter of One Piece, where the main trio of the Straw Hats and Zoro, Nami, and Luffy, along with Road, explore Hujutsu, the former king's castle, where we learn that he had giant ancient bloods, saw what he looked like. That about apparently 100 other giants were killed besides him. Any survivors being Loki and Saw and Joral. We learn a bit more of Rhodes' backstory of being bullied for being a Toku, but befriended Hajuden and became a loyal follower as a result. Who was sort of like the half brother of Loki, but not is he considered a pure elbow giant due to his mother not being from the country. And we end up getting a we learn that the two mysterious Holy Knight figures are actually their names, one of them being Gunko, and having this sort of like our ability, if you will, and the confirmation that the Shanks lookalike is the full name is Shamrock and is the son of Figala Garling, if you will. And that they're here to recruit Loki into, like, of course, the God's Knights and all that stuff. And let's see, as a result of trying to get Elbaf joining the world government. So that's basically what happened in the last chapter. Anyway, on to the second, onto the actual chapter itself. But before that, we got the co-story page in which we've got the Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 24. It was Who all along, in which we see Who with, I believe, Yamato's stolen katana that belonged to Lord Yashi. Celebrating some sake in a cup. We're seeing with his feline beast pirate crew with some of the women, I think, that are geishas that are kidnapped to play music and serve drinks to them. So we just have him basically celebrating. Granted, it was no surprise that he would be the sort of probably bad guy in this little cover story when his hideout was revealed 2 chapters ago in the cover. The only thing different is the fact that he's wearing a full-on samurai outfit, looking more like a Yakuza boss, which I think it looks quite good. In fact, it's quite fitting that since he's supposed to be in the land of Wano, but granted, the Beast Pirates never really wore samurai gear. That was more of like Orochi's forces that just allied with Kaido afterwards. So yeah. Anyway, he's likely to be the antagonist, and probably makes sense since he has the highest bounty amongst the Topiropo. I think the only one that actually had like 500 million berries. Anyway, I've gone long enough. On to the actual chapter. Chapter begins with Luffy huffing from his runes and asking Shamrock why that he looks a lot like Shax, asking if he's related. Gunko tells him to hold his tongue, as there's nothing he needs to know. Which Loki, while might not be his business, since Shanks is a Yonko and a pirate, and the people before him are celestial dragons. People that are supposed to be on opposite sides of forces, if you will. Wondering what they have the fact they have the same face is bound to draw some curiosity, if you will. Where Shamrock reveals that and confirms that he is Shanks' twin brother, and that Shanks is the younger twin brother, Shamrock's is the older one. And also that finally confirming that the evil Shanks twin theory is finally there, killing off all those accusations of Shanks being a rat, if you will. And we also learn that Shanks actually had returned to the Holy Land once, but it seems he preferred to stay in the lower world, or as the filth as Shamrock describes it. So we've got that. Let's see. Loki is surprised about the fact that Shanks apparently returned, but it seems that it's more focused that the Shanks' family has earned his wrath twice. It seems pretty much. Let's see, saying how two separate brothers should be targets of his wrath, telling them that he will rule this day, and once he gets his chains off, telling them that he knows what will happen since we see Power of all like his beast friends, let's see, dead corpses, if you will, vowing vengeance for like the death of his animal friends, and let's see, and he will pay the cost of it. Shamrock turns, going like, "Are you threatening me, if you will?" With Gunko saying, "Don't waste your time on him, Commander," which he agrees, and then saying that he's not going to dirty his own hands. Instead, commands his sword to do it, calling it Cerberus as it transforms into the three-headed dog in a very menacing-like manner. Let's see, no hint to say it's a devil fruit, just the name Cerberus. Loki is surprised by what it looks like. Blades are coming out of its mouths. Shamrock saying that this is his sword. As it grows closer, Loki thinks it's creepy, and let's see what it's doing. Then you see the collar of the Cerberus detach from its head, spinning around as Gunko uses her arrows to summon. Summons her arrows, and then to create a sort of bird thing for both of them to hop on, telling her commander to extinguish their presence, saying they need to move. As Shamrock scramble as the Cerberus dog heads fully detach, flying away as the body returns to like a sword form. Shamrock saying that if you should survive, come and kill me, and he'll be ready for you. With Loki saying, "Hold on a damn second," saying that they gotta be kidding, since he pretty much thinks that those blades will kill him, and he can't really survive those. As he curses the celestial dragons as the blades then stabs him as he shouts, "Damn you all to hell!" As you see blood splattering where Shamrock and Gunko are flying, with Shamrock saying pacifying them all at once will be hard now. So we're saying he needs to get to the warriors' children's first, telling Gunko that needs to call one more, which she asks very well, and which one's that, ending that part of the chapter. Anyway, my thoughts on this part of the chapter. Okay, first of all, I do like how Loki seems to like pretty much asking, "Okay, what's the deal between you two? You look very much like Shanks. What's the connection? You're a world noble. He's a pirate. There's got to be some relation." And I'm glad that he was able to tell. Though, granted, I do wonder that with this sort of questioning, if that might kill off some of the idea of Shamrock actually killing King Harold, and then seeing Loki mistaking him for Shanks' theory, as Loki at the very least should probably be able to remember the presence of Shamrock if he encountered him like years ago, but who knows? So that might lead more into the evil King Harold theory, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm still more on the idea of Loki being framed for like Shamrock's killings, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that regards. But nevertheless, that we got that part there. But anyway, I do like this chapter pretty much confirms that the evil Shanks twin theory is real. Now, I know there was some that didn't like it, but it's here now. And at the moment, I think Oda's doing a very good job at selling it, at least with like this evil Shanks, or Shamrock, if you will. And I like that we got the confirmation that Shamrock is actually the elder of the twin brothers. So Shanks is more of the younger, more troublemaking one for the world nobles, if you will. But nevertheless, of course, he's the more likable good one, if you will. But yeah. But it is interesting to see, like, we've now got, like, confirmation of 3 strong for Garland members. Arguably, this making like the Figarlands of the Celestial Dragons probably the equivalent of the One Piece's Uchiha family of these really super strong family members of this one particular group. I guess you could argue Monkey D family could be the same, but I think Garp has passed his prime at this point, so yeah. Anyway, so we've got that. It is also interesting to learn that Shanks did actually have a chance to return to the Holy Land once. I assume this is probably after like Roger's execution. Learned a bit about his family, but it decided that, you know what, I prefer the lower world. I prefer like his pirate family and prefer protecting the weak, not oppressing them, if you will. So he basically rejected his heritage and chose to be a pirate, which I had respect to Shanks for. Though granted, of course, this seems to have given him the scorn for ire of his brother Shamrock, as he calls him, a strange brother, and thinking that it, and referring to like doesn't seem to be happy he chose to protect the filth, which that does make it goes to show you sort of great dark parallel to Shanks, where showing that outside of Celestial Dragon's environment, with Shanks being raised by Roger and the Roger Pirates, he ended up turning to be a very decent human being, while Shamrock, who was raised in the Holy Land, probably by his father, who thinks that Fritzy filth who protects filth is even worse filth, if you will. Or those who protect filth are worse than filth, basically. They're having the much more harsher standard doctrine of like the lower world is filth. We are superior. Shanks does not have that and will protect the weak, as we have seen numerous times throughout the series when he's appeared. So, yeah, it'll be quite interesting to see a sort of ideological crash between Shanks and his evil twin brother, if you will. But anyway, I do like how Loki is just declaring how this family of Shanks and Shamrock has just earned his wrath, and that he will take vengeance on them. Though, granted, I think he's being a bit too open and perhaps being a bit too reckless. So, arguably understandable since all his animal friends have just been killed, as they seem to be the only individuals on the island that actually still like him, as everyone thinks he's such an evil person. Though, of course, there are hints that he's not. So, oops, pardon me. So we've got that. Though I do like how Shamrock is like, oh, you're threatening me, but it's like, oh, so I'm not going to get my hands dirty. And we get an idea of some of his powers, at least, or at least the powers of his sword. We're assuming that he's a swordsman, but it seems like he's got like a mythical Zoan, or at least some sort of like emu yokai sort of monster-like transformation. Given the fact that we did not get a name of a devil fruit of it, like the dog mythical model Cerberus. We didn't really get that, so this might be more of just it's the evil creation of Emu, if you will, that's just been imbued with the sword. Now, granted, this does make many people curious to wonder if Shanks' sword, which I think is named Griffin or something, could it turn into a Griffin bird itself? Though, granted, I doubt even if he got the sword from the Holy Land, I doubt he'd be imbued with that kind of power if he's betrayed the world nobles. But nevertheless, I do like that. I like the menacing side on the sword, and of all the sort of like Zoan type weapon based abilities, like Spanman's front thread and Mr. Four's dog bazooka, if you will, that this one is actually more of instead of a comedic one, a more menacing, actually deadly one, if you will. I like the design of Cerberus. And I do like the fact that it's got, granted, it seems to have got something like the sort of dinosaur ancient Zoan abilities of detaching its body, as that's what we saw with like Queen with that funny moment where it became like a full-on steak, much to everyone's sort of like shock of that transformation, if you will. So, but yeah. But I do admit that the free detachable sword hair, tongues coming out of the swords coming out of the dog's mouth, if you will, is quite threatening and seemingly about to kill Loki. Though granted, I'm pretty certain Loki's going to survive because it's like it'd be pretty anticlimactic to have him killed off now. Since we haven't really seen him do anything, we haven't seen his backstory, and it's bound to probably at least Luffy's going to try and reunite with him and probably unlock his key. Now, what takes place after that, I do not know, but I assume Luffy's going to be the first to find Loki wounded. Other than that, I do like how Gunko is able to use her arrow fruit to create a bird-like contraption to fly him about. In some ways, it kind of reminds me of Daedra creating clay to fly about for them at sea near Akatsuki. So that's quite a good nifty ability, and I do like this fact that she seems to be know your place kind of attitude to towards Loki when he's asking questions. But anyway, it's interesting to learn that after Loki, the failure to recruit Loki into the Gods Knights, the world know the Gods Knights' plans. It seems to get Elbaf is to kidnap the children. So arguably, we're finally getting some plot ideas with the kids of Elbaf are, and particularly Colin. Right. See, my guess is that they're going to kidnap all the peace-loving kids. And this is where I think Colin and the others will probably learn that, okay, at some point you need to learn somewhat defense of yourself, not going becoming all full-blown warriors, but at the very least not become full-blown pacifists that result in you just being captured. Who knows? As I do think Oda, of course, does think the more peaceful the kingdom, the better. And I don't think he's going to betray that themes with Elbaf, even though some people are no, I want to see warriors of Elbaf kind of thing. But no, I think he's going to go for the more, let's see, peace is a good thing situation. I'll be back in a second. Just need to fill my drink. Anyway, on to the next part of the chapter, if you will. We cut to the Horus Castle in Elbaf. Let's see, with the giant saying, you know what he saw was Elbaf, as those two giants that were see attacked by the Gods Knights are still alive and telling Luffy what happened. Luffy accuses them of being liars, saying that Shanks wouldn't beat up you guys without good reason. The giants agree, but he recognized him anywhere since red hair Shanks has been to Elbaf so many times. And let's see. With Luffy saying, yeah, I guess you would, but saying that it must have someone that looked like him, so Luffy's pretty much figured it out. Mostly just because he doesn't want to believe that Shanks would do such an awful thing. As he says that. And another giant says saying that they were shocked to see him, as they thought what's he doing inside the castle. So points out that let's see, he was just in Elbaf a while back, and that it's not out of the question that he would still be in the area. But Luffy gets a bit more defensive, of course, saying, "But what you're saying is true. That wasn't Shanks. Saying that Shanks is a cheerful guy who isn't full of himself, and that he never does anything messed up like that." With Nami laughing, saying, "How you trust him so much, Luffy?" And Luffy gets in a bit of a joking, angry manner, saying, "Of course I do," and saying that, "Look, Nami, wouldn't you be mad if someone said stuff like that about Molimir?" Let's see, referring to Bellemere, as Nami then ends up correcting him. Let's see, to that, being annoyed by Luffy for doing that. Anyway, let's see, with Giant saying, so I guess there were two identical people. With one of them saying maybe they were brothers. Let's see. Luffy was going like Shanks' brother. He's saying that guess could be true, as he talks about how he's never heard him talk about his family, only that he's just on a pirate ship ever since he was little. As we see the sort of mysterious figure who was once chatting with Carcass in the cover story and has been appearing in Elbaf chapters of the late, walking by, climbing up towards the Elbaf castle as Luffy goes like ever since he was little, saying he thought Roger and Rayleigh and those guys were his family, the Roger pirates, but saying aside from Bucky, even though he completely misses the fact that Shanks does actually like Bucky, at least as a sort of brother-like figure. But yeah, I think that's just Luffy just using his own personal dislike of Bucky, or at least at the very least. Anyway, Anyway, overall, my thoughts on these 2 pages. I do like how defensive Luffy is of Shanks and he's showing emotion. After all, Shanks is the pirate Luffy admires most, his sort of mentor, and some might even argue father figure, if you will, since Dragon was never around and Luffy was a kid, at the very least. So he's getting defensive and saying that Shanks would never attack anyone without good reason, since he always defends people. Never really being the one to pick the fight. The Giants, of course, are saying, okay, yeah, but let's see, it did look a lot like him, though. They do like how they seem to at least open to the possibility that, okay, there might be someone else that just looks like him, since they are very familiar with Shanks and probably realize, just like Luffy said, Shanks wouldn't do things. But I do like how Luffy is quick to guess that it might be some sort of relative of Shanks's. Though I do like Zoro doing his own skepticism that Shanks was here a while back, so he could still be around, but yeah. I do like how Nami is like teasing Luffy about, okay, you must be you're really a protective of Shanks. Well, granted, this is perhaps one of the few bits of mixed divide I've seen where Luffy ends up saying you would do the same with Bellemere, but mispronouncing the name, which I've seen some people find this funny, but others feel like saying that Luffy should know Bellemere's name, full on, as if he remembers Sol's name and all that stuff, he should remember Bellemere for Nami, since like Bellemere was Nami's mother. Granted, this could just be more of Oda doing a bit of a joke, but to be fair, I don't really mind either way. I just like the fact that Bellemere is being brought up, so more personal stuff for the Straw Hats being brought up this arc, so yeah, I'm hoping it leads to more stuff down the line. Anyway, I do like how Luffy, been talking about Roger Shanks' family being the Roger Pirates. This pretty much, I think, confirmed that that the hooded individual that has been in Crocus's cover page in the Straw Hats Return one is probably no doubt going to be Crocus, the last major member of the Roger Pirates that we have yet to learn about, and finally seemingly we're going to learn about, as he's probably coming up to Luffy and probably have some sort of interaction, if you will. Yes, I know the next few chapters, but I'm just reviewing it as if it was like came out. But yeah, so but yeah, I do like how Luffy acknowledges that the Roger Pirates are members of his family, though. I do find it funny how he seems to be completely in denial that Buggy is a member, is regarded as family to Shanks, which doesn't probably realize just how much of a brotherly bond that Shanks and Buggy had, though granted this is probably more just due to Buggy's hostility towards Shanks. But nevertheless, I do think Shanks does actually like Buggy. It's just that he does not really understand why Buggy is being so hostile towards him. When Buggy thinks that he should have been the Pirate King straight away, but there we go in that regards. Though granted, I wouldn't be really surprised if Shanks clears this up with Luffy about the whole Buggy thing. I'm curious to see that if it's Copacabana coming up, if he'd be the one to tell Luffy about how the Roger Pirates found Shanks at God Valley and explain the whole Celestial Dragon relations that Shanks has. Anyway, we get to like sorry. The next part of the chapter, the Team Frankie, the Jewel Tree to Adam, where we see Frankie and Ripley going around, with Frankie explaining how being amazed by the tree, being everywhere, saying, "Ooh, this wood is not as rare as he thought," laughing, with Ripley going like, "Oh, so this tree is really valuable across the seas," with her smiling, making jokes that maybe she should get into business of selling it. But Frankie warns her that saying, "You're the one who should be stopping this type of thing," Ripley, saying that Sol's already scolded him once, saying that this is the holy tree. Don't you go covering pieces of it loose now. And I do like how Ripley says, "Good impression of Sol there." Let's see. But Frankie going like, "Anyway, if you have to cut the wood and haul it off without any giants noticing, you'd have to try and explain the price to her." So making like, okay, if you're going to do this business, don't get caught, and then learn how much it actually is, pricing and all that. But let's see, Frankie is dropped. Let's see, drops down after being carried by Ripley. Let's see, noticing like a sort of mural, if you will, with Ripley explaining that it was it was carved by children's drawings from the ancient past, and it was fossilized into the tree bark, saying that it's now considered a cultural relic due to its historical value. With Frankie being surprised at it being kid scribbles, and they say that this is estimated to be drawn between 800 and 900 years ago. Let's see, says as it puts them in the 4th century, which shocks Frankie, thinking like, okay, I gotta show this to Robin and tell her, and he'll tell about it later. But he ends up taking quite a bit of an interest, saying that for a drawing of Elbaf, they don't look like giants to him, as you see a drawing of what appears to be a mermaid, of the mermaid princess, Emmett the giant robot, and what appears to be some sort of mink, talking about with Ripley confirming that this is the history, that saying that the history they're familiar with is that there was sometimes war between races, but there never any cultural exchange, as Frankie's just looking on. With Ripley just saying maybe this Xerxes drawing is simply nothing more than a child's dream, though I think this is pretty much incorrect, but I'll get to that in a moment. Anyway, we cut to the sort of Walrus School, where you got the children just having fun, playing about, where Saul's assistant saying, listen up, children, we're in the middle of a lesson, so it's getting them to behave. But we cut to like the library, where the children are just not, let's see, unaware of the sort of danger they're going to be in soon with the God's Knights. But anyway, we cut to like Nico, Robin, still in the Owl Library, so looking at the Harley book, which Saul's got, showing how it's a very big one, saying that all the various myths and legends of Elbaf were created based on the original text, and since there's so many interpretations of it, Chopper's just being amazed by how huge it is, and also how dusty, coughing from that. Speaking of coughs. Let's see, he goes on to say that it means that the sun god, all the warriors of Elbaf believe in, has a different personality depending on who tells the story. As we see Broggy and Hadrud and Joel and other giants celebrating, some of them doing the Nika dance, if you will, going about how it has a different personality depending on who tells the story, saying it's funny. Robin asks to read it with Saul saying, of course, she. Talking about how the story is split into 3 chapters. They say that the 3rd chapter describes the world we live in today, and it's about something that's going to happen in the future. With Saul saying, in fact, the legends of Nika are speeded all throughout the world. Oh, let's see, seeded out throughout the world, sorry. And the one common feature is that he's always laughing to this rhythm, as Saul does the iconic doom da da doom da da Nika, and doing the Nika dance, which gets Robin laughing. As she shouts out, I shall read it now, saying the first world within the earth there was fire, mankind, as you see Chopper smiling, but you get back more to Frankie's just staring at the mural. As we see in the final double page spread, a mural with what appears to be a giant serpent with breathing fire towards a what appears to be a giant dragon, if you will. A futuristic city, seemingly some construction work with people moving these sort of what appears to be sort of like energy balls around, if you will. We see like a giant elephant, which appears to be in the Shanisha. We see a sort of king on top, which might imply Emu or something, or some other important world leader. A flying, let's see, boat, if you will, or arc, if you will, that's shooting lightning, which looks very much like Arnold's, like let's see, Doomsday weapon that he used to destroy Skypiea with, but it might actually be a reference to Pluton. We see Noah at the ship Noah with like 2 animals of each, and like a humans, as well as a sort of angel. As Frankie is just staring in the center with like the tree cutting between the 2 panels. And then we see on the other side, we've got like what appears to be a grand force of alliance of giant whales with humans, Mink tribe, Lunarians, Emmett the robot giant. Let's see, a boat with something which could either be maybe Alabaster, Amazon Lily, or just a generally symbol of the sun. Let's see, Samurai from Wano. Bunch of people on ships, if you will. Humans. Let's see a fish. Let's see a dwarf. Let's see a mermaid. It might be the mermaid princess. Let's see more minks. Let's see an ancient giant and a regular giant, and of course, Joe Boy, the sun god Nika, fighting a giant demon-looking like monster holding the sun. Let's see, as he's let's see, massive, and let's see, bigger than all the other forces combined, if you will. Got demon wings, horns, teeth, and apparently at least one boat with like a bunch of humans on it fighting against them. As you've got the text saying, the first world. Within the earth there was fire. Mankind succumbed to greed and torched the forbidden sun. The enslaved prayed, and the sun god appeared. The Udgarth rage, and with its serpent of hellfire shrouded the world in death and darkness, and they will never meet again. The second world, within the void, there was breath. The forest god tamed the demons, and the sun spread the fires of war. Let's see, those of the half moon dreamed, those of the moon dreamed. Man killed the sun and became god. The sea god stormed, and they will never meet. Anyway, and finally, the third world. Within the chaos, there was emptiness. The inconvenient remnants recall the promised day and hear the voices of the half moon. The sun god dances and laughs, guiding the world to its end. The sun returns and brings a new morning, and they will surely meet. Ending the chapter with this iconic double spread, if you will. Okay, first of all, I do like how you got the interactions with Frankie and Ripley with like talking about the value of the Adam tree, and I do like that with Betsy seeing Frankie's plot line with the Adam tree, since he used the Adam tree to build the Thousand Sunny. And perhaps this is leading more to like of course, Frankie upgrading the Thousand Sunny, giving him some sort of like character arc of upgrading this and all that stuff. But I'm liking the interactions with him, with Ripley teasing about how she should perhaps maybe sell it, but like going like, "Oi, you heard Saul? No, it's he sacrilегing like this ancient tree of its value." But then also sort of joking, the man is like, "Okay, fair enough. I'm just joking." And even being amused by Frankie's impression. And saying, and Frankie's saying, "Okay, if you're going to cut it, just don't get caught," and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm liking the interaction between these two at the moment. Let's see. So, I'm just curious to see if they will get more of these interactions. At the very least, I do like how she's like holding Frankie like an action figure, I will admit. Let's see. So, yeah, I do like how Frankie pays attention to like this, let's see, Muriel, if you will, with Ripley explained it being drawn by kids in the Floyd century. So I do like how you get Frankie reacting to like it, saying, "I gotta show this to Robin," and I do like that because he knows how important like Floyd century stuff is to Robin and all that stuff. But I do also like that he's able to take notice of like all the different markings not looking like giants, if you will. So I do like that aspect of it as well. And but it's interesting that the Giants, let's see, who despite having like the least, due to the long lifespan, having a lot less generations from the Void Century, do not actually, let's see, seem to be remembering some aspects of their history. The fact that, okay, thinking that this sort of alliance of all these different races, even though there's like in Elbas history, they've only ever been in war with other races, it seems to imply that they've completely forgotten this aspect of history, which curious to see how that will be explained by Oda with Emu at the very least. But I do like how she thinks like it must be like a child's dream, which arguably it's a dream that did actually happen and needs to probably happen again in order to take down the world government. So, but I do like how the sort of kids' drawings become sort of like a cultural family, it's a cultural country's heirloom, if you will, about its historic meaning and purposes, which I think most ancient cave painting drawings would, to be fair. So, but they're not comparing this to cave painting. It's got a lot more detail to it. a lot more ancient text, if you will. Now, I do like it. You get a brief reminder of the kids and Elbaf playing before you get their inevitable kidnapping. So there's that. I do like that Robin is reading the Harley book. So I do like that. We are seeing her and Soul. Let's see bond and read over the books and all that stuff. And I do like how we get Chopper being a war on it, thinking about how huge it is, and also just paying attention to what let's see Robin is reading. Let's see from that book, if you will. I do like how Soul points out how due to the various myths and legends are based on this book, but there's so many interpretations about the sun god, and so every warrior in Elbaf believes in a different thing. And in many ways, I do like that. That's more further emphasized due to the fact that it's a bit more based on like real life with like many different subsections of religion where they believe in like this Britzy interpretation of it for say like with the Bible with Protestants and Catholics. So like that. I do like that we go on that the book story spared to be split into 3 chapters. And the third one is more of like the events that are going to be happening soon in the world today. So there is that. I do like how let's see, we get the confirmation that no matter what happens, the sun god is always laughing. Let's see, and dancing to this rhythm, doom da da da, doom da da da. And I do like how Soul is actually sort of doing the sort of Nika dance. Granted, I don't think he's going to get any death vibes, but like possibly Kuma when he does it. But at the very least, I'm glad that Soul is actually showing it to Robin. And I do wonder if that means we're going to get more of the Straw Hats eventually doing the Nika pose, though. Let's see, I can probably see the likes of Zoro and Nami. Let's see, not doing it because it's like too silly, but who knows? Anyway, overall thoughts on like the double page spread, and blimey, that is a ritzy, amazing one. I really like the sort of kid. It does really look like it's a drawing done by kids, but some very creative, artistic kids, I will admit. So props to that. Let's see. It's no wonder why many people, when they read this part, said that the One Piece chapter would be a 10 out of 10 one, and all that. Or Fritzy calling One Piece a modern Odyssey, if you will. I can see why some people are planning this title, with like the sort of lore that we've just been dropped for this chapter. Honestly, it looks like probably the most lore that Oda's ever dropped in a single chapter, even more than the Vegapunk speech. It's impressive. I think for some people, this is like the best chapter since, let's see, 957, where I think you got introduced to like the Rocks Pirates and all that. So, but yeah. But this lore seems to top even that with like a sort of grand alliance and all that. Anyway, from what I can guess, let's see, with the first world part, let's see, within the fire, Earth there was fire, mankind subbed greed and touched the forbidden sun, and the sun god appeared, the earth god ravaged with its serpent of hellfire, shrouded the world in death and darkness, and they will never meet. I think the sort of this might imply, of course, the red line serpent, resulting in like splitting the world and let's see continents and all that stuff, which seems to me to imply that the grand line is the serpent, though granted, whether or not let's see, is at least a serpent, or at least let's see, his powers created by a serpent-like thing, because I do like those like Mr. Morge thinks that Inu's devil fruit is actually Dromander, like the great serpent in Norse mythology, where once he starts circling the world, it's the end of the world and beginning of Ragnarok, if you will. So who knows? Let's see, granted, could this be really something that Imu could summon, given the fact that we also see like a fire breathing dragon, which he seems to fight, though who knows that. But also the fact that we've got Imu possibly has a devil form kind of thing, so it might be that there's like devil like those yokai summons that like the 5 elders at the very least. But anyway, pretty much the advanced kingdom there, which you can probably tell by the futuristic buildings there, great and modern and all that stuff. Seemingly seeing how they were able to supply the energy with like these light things. It seems like some of them still have it even when they die. We get confirmation about all these kind of like let's see, Tanisha, the Noah,
see possibly ancient Earth and Uranus, but we also see like Paddy, like Grand and Lion, species that we have seen throughout One Piece, like the ancient giant, the X-Men, like the mermaid princess, minks, the dwarfs, we got all these different sort of allies, like the Wano, Samurai of Wano, and arguably possibly Alabasta, or at least some members from the Alabasta, but yeah, fighting Emu and the world government's forces led by Joe Boy. So yeah, a sort of grand alliance that failed once, but now probably needs to come together again in order to take down the world government. Granted, there probably won't be any ancient giants since I think pure-blooded ancient giants are no longer around, and also let's see, you have the what are they called again? King's Race. Oh yeah, Lunarians. Let's see, probably don't have those, or even probably Buccaneers, if you will. So, but yeah, so it's quite a nice, and it seems to like confirm that Emu at least has some like devil-like monstrosity appearance. So, granted, it could be that that might be his hybrid form, if let's see from the giant snake model, but we have to wait and see. At the very least, we see Joe Boy leading the flock, and and Emu seems to be holding like a sun, if you will. Seemingly, it's like that might be the energy source that he tried to steal, but might have failed in some regards. Enough to destroy the ancient kingdom, but not enough to like keep on to the resource. Anyway, talking about the bit of the lore within like Earth as mankind and all that stuff, it seems to imply that the world was once on fire and all that stuff, probably ruled by a race like the Lunarians, as mankind was probably under their control. As but we also probably learned that during the first world that devil fruits. Let's see. It seems like let's see a bunch of slaves. Let's see. Arguably, one was the first devil fruit user, touched the forbidden sun, and ended up getting like the sun god Nika fruit, if you will. So it seems to imply that the Gum Gum or Nika fruit is actually the first devil fruit in existence. Probably, if you believe Mr. Moore's theory about Dritzy being dreamed up by people, took the fruit, and then as a result, you got a conflict between wherever the factions were, causing like the one whole continent of One Piece, if you will, to split into like small, let's say, smaller continents. So, but yeah, you have that. Let's see. For the most interesting one, of course, let's see. Besides, let's see. The first one is the second one, saying, "Within the void there was breath. The forest god tamed the demons, and the sun spread the fires of war." Which might be more of like implying that devil fruits were created with this. Granted, I should probably mention that it may not be actual gods that did the stuff, but we know it's like probably more man-made stuff that happened, especially with the whole world flooding. Not a sea god, if you will. But yeah, but so we got that aspect of like the whole devil fruits. And we got like those of the half moon dream, those of the moon dream, which is more of the theory of like see, as we saw from the cover story of like all sort of like sky type people flew down from the moon to live on the earth, but were disappointed with how things were currently going, I guess, for humanity. But it seems like also imply that the half moon thing might be the symbol of the D clan. So don't let's see. So that the D might not actually be a D, which I suppose would be a bit clever on Elder's part. But yeah, at the very least. This seems to imply the D clan at the very least. And the last bit is man killed the sun and became gods, and the sea god stormed, which seems to basically imply the celestial dragons dethroned the world powers. They became the rulers and declared themselves gods, but they end up losing the sun. Let's see, powers, abilities, if you will, unable to do like the ancient weapon uses, if you will, until now. And let's see. Basically, just a modern day update on like the Void Century history, but more or less confirming it. And the third one, of course, is basically implying the events that are happening now with Luffy. Let's see, uncovering the Void Century's past with his crew of like Nico Robin. Let's see, turning the world upside down, and then Luffy becoming Nika, bringing joy to people, and probably eventually taking down the world government, if you will. Finally getting all the people to reunite, and maybe saying, and they will surely meet, as last bit of the line saying, oh, they will never meet again. But it seems like at this point, Luffy, if he succeeds, will get to the world to meet again. So you've basically got a foreshadowing of the events to come. So yeah. Overall, this is a very great chapter. Probably the best chapter so far in Elbaf. The only sort of nitpick I have is maybe, depending on how you feel about Luffy not remembering Bellemere's name. But other than that, everything is perfect. Confirmation that Shamrock is Shanks' older twin brother. Shanks actually got a chance to return to the Holy Land, but refused. Loki seemingly in danger by Shamrock's Cerberus sword. Luffy, of course, defending Shanks as much as possible, and fun little actions between him and Nami, if you will. Let's see, and also Luffy being able to do say it might be an evil twin. So yeah, and then Franky's interactions with Ripley and learning more about doing more of the plotline with the Adam Tree, as well as looking at that one mural from the Void Century. Let's see, Robin continuing learning about the Harley story and its mythology, and Sol doing Nika dance, and Tamio giving us a bit of a full-on backstory about how, let's see, the world has been seemingly destroyed 2 times, which I think emphasizes more on what Joel said about possibly the world was one big continent was split by the Red Line into smaller continents. And then, of course, you had the Great Kingdom as a result of that. And then, of course, like the conflict between the Celestial Dragons and Joe Boy's faction, which had this, like, arguably this grand alliance that for some reason or another failed, which might be a reason why Roger never tried to challenge Emu. But also confirmation that Emu might actually have a bit of a devil ability, at least devil-like, form, if you will, when he transforms. And let's see, that and a bit more of a backstory of how he seemed to try and steal the energy source, but then somehow lost it. So we're getting a lot more backstory of Emu and the sort of forces he fights. So at the very least, it makes Emu look a lot more stronger with this Muriel with some of starting to think that Emu might not be that strong, given how he reacted to Joe Boy's hockey. But I'm pretty certain he is. It's just more of like he's got just PSTD from like thinking about fighting Joe Boy. Overall, this is a very good chapter. I give it a 10 out of 10. It is like it's very rare that I do that, but I think this chapter is just about perfect or near perfect. I'm giving that score, especially with some of the best lore that we've got in One Piece in a very long time. For those who end up listening to this, I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. Apologies that I'm redoing this review again, but I figured I just wanted to do a better review now. I'm not less tired, and let's see, my cold wasn't as bad. But for now, I am Blue Star Saber, signing off. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time for chapter 1139. Hopefully I will get time for it tomorrow, but if not, for now, I am Blue Star Saber, signing off. Goodbye, everyone.